Good morning, Tucson, Arizona, and good morning, Pima County. This is Tom Cortez, the co-host of the Fresh Start International radio show on 106.3 The Groove. You can also see us on YouTube. If you go to 1030 The Voice and you subscribe to that, all of our shows, all of the shows on 1030 The Voice will come up, but all of the Fresh Start International shows will come up with the video. And it's super cool. You get to see us and you get to see our guests and our interaction on the show. So that would be wonderful to have you join us in that way and comment and share and come on with us. So let me make some announcements as we start out, okay? First, Saturday, September 20th, 11:30 to 1 p.m., St. Andrew's Presbyterian Church, 7650 North Paseo del Norte. We are having the Fresh Start International Fundraiser Brunch, okay? It is $35 per person, and you can sponsor a table of 8 for $250. Our guest is going to be Judge Ron Wilson, who is the former Chief Magistrate Judge of South Tucson. And if you are a follower of the show, you would have heard him about 3 weeks ago come on the show, which caused me to journey into a study and research into the trauma that has affected judges. And we, as people who have been sentenced by judges, don't have a lot of compassion in our hearts for them. But after meeting and speaking with and sharing time with Judge Wilson, you find out they're human beings and they have the same hearts that we have and the same minds that we have. And he really explained to us what it meant when they have taken away the discretion of the judges and they have to adhere to mandatory sentencing codes. And they can do nothing except give the individual a sentence which falls under a category. And in knowing that they're sending a youngster to prison, and they know because of what prison is, and because of the environment in prison, because of the state of the young person in front of them, this person's life is going to be altered forever. And there is nothing they can do about it except sentence them to the place that they know is going to destroy them or cause them a great deal of trauma. So fantastic as a guest. He will be even better as our keynote speaker at the fundraiser. So we'd love to have you join us. Remember, Saturday, September 20th, 11:30 to 1, St. Andrew's Presbyterian Church, 7650 North Paseo del Norte. It's in the 85704 district. If you go to Fresh Start International on Facebook, or if you go to fresh-start.international, the web page for our organization, you will find all of the flyers for the upcoming events, which is the fundraiser. And the fundraiser gives you a list of shared opportunities to invest in Fresh Start in the future of Fresh Start, which is investing in the future of all those that are going to be getting out of prison at some point in time. And over 90% of the people that are in prison at some point in time are going to get out of prison. You know, what state do we want them to get out of prison in? And what do we want to make available to them when they are released? Wouldn't we want to make available to them those things that will help them move forward? We know jobs are a difficulty for somebody with a felony conviction. We know housing is difficult for somebody with a felony conviction because you got to sign a lease. And all of those things come into it. And you're thinking about this while you're locked up, thinking, how am I going to find someplace to live? Who can I get that will allow me to live with them? You know, and then where can I work? Well, where can I work? Most of the places you can work are heavy labor. They're landscaping, and there's nothing against landscaping. I've done landscaping the vast majority of my life. Nothing, it pays well, but it's hard work. And in Arizona, it's really hard work because it's really hot. And right now it's really humid, which makes it even more difficult. So that's another reason why you should invest in Fresh Start, because I have seen over the last 5 years opportunities open up to individuals that have come through Fresh Start that they never believed that they would personally have. They believed their lot in life was to reoffend, get out, reoffend, get out, reoffend, because they believed that's all that they had coming, because they never had the start that they needed. Now, we keep getting people out of prison and saying, okay, let's get you a job, let's get you a place to live. You know what? Let's deal with the situations and the environments that put you in the place, that put you in the place, that put you in the joint. Okay, when we start to deal with those things, all of those other things that have hindered us from moving forward, and the big one, you know, the self-sabotage, which just definitely destroys any forward movement at all, because we get to feeling like we are responsible to keep things successful, and it becomes too difficult. So it's easy to sign back up for another term. Well, I'm here to tell you that times, they are a-changing. And for us, man, there are so many opportunities that have come up. I talk about the WIOA all the time, and in the jobs, in the job market, in the companies that are stepping up, in the IT opportunities that are coming through ADOC also with an IT opportunity for somebody to get a job with a sustainable wage, but not only a sustainable wage, they're going to get a job that they will be respected for doing. And that's pretty important for somebody that, you know, a high percentage of us never felt that we were ever respected to begin with. So now, wow, where do I go with that? Who's my audience? My audience is inmates in the state prison system, inmates in the federal prison system, but my audience is the parents and the grandparents and the uncles and the aunts and the friends and the cousins of those that are in the prison system. And I'm talking to you because you're the people that the promises are being made to. You're the people that the letters are being written to. You're the people that the relationships had been broken because of the behaviors. And you're the people that we, coming out of prison, are reaching out, trying to prove something to. And we just need help doing it. And Fresh Start helps people do that. When we do the Fresh Start Expo, we get all sorts of, look at this list. We do warrant resolution, juvenile record sealing, marijuana expungement, SNAP access, housing support, employment opportunities with Pima One Stop Arizona at Work. Man, and you come in, and this has been from the very beginning, and I talk about it all the time because it has been so moving to me from the very start, and every year I get to see it. Even now at the clinics, we get to see it to a certain degree, where an individual comes in there and they're not so well kept, and they come over and they sit down and they get a haircut by these absolutely lovely individuals that come out from Sports Clips. And Shaheen Urias, who owns the Sports Clips and brings out her stylist to help us every year, every event, and gives free haircuts throughout the year. Absolutely incredible. And an individual goes over there and he sits down or she sits down and they start working on them. And you see that individual start to sit up a little bit more, and you see their chin just raise a little bit more. You know, and then they keep pouring into them and they're getting cleaned up. And then they show them a little mirror shot of themselves after this haircut. And they look into this mirror shot and they see a different person than the person that walked into the facility. And their shoulders are back a little further and their chin is up a little bit more. And they get to stand up from there and walk over to DKA. And DKA, the wonderful organization, Dottie Craig Agency, they do so much for ex-offenders, returning citizens, and they are such an extraordinary blessing. And I could tell you so many stories about the outfits of clothing that they have provided to individuals on the day of the event that has changed their lives. And I mean, I have a friend that still talks about the three-piece suit that he got 4 years ago, and then went and got an interview and went and spoke to people. And now he's working for a counseling agency that's doing work ensuring that our people don't go back to the system without having the opportunities to change those things that keep putting them back in the system, or putting their minds back in a place where they believe the system is the only place where they can live. So thanks, and I will say praise. And right now, I'd like to read a letter from Dr. Holt, inviting people to help us at Fresh Start. Dear friends, partners, and community members, for the past 5 years, Fresh Start International has been transforming lives by helping our brothers and sisters returning to the community from incarceration. Each October, we host our annual Fresh Start Expo at the Tucson Convention Center, a no-arrest event that unites judges from every level of the court system, county attorneys, public defenders, employers, behavioral health providers, and more to offer real solutions and fresh starts. Through rights restoration, warrant quashing, expungement, record sealing, voter registration, and access to jobs, clothes, haircuts, and healing services, we equip individuals to step into new beginnings, restored, empowered, and ready for opportunity. This work continues year-round through smaller legal and resource clinics because the need is great and growing. We now invite you to stand with us in this mission. Join us for a special fundraising brunch to support and expand the life-changing work of Fresh Start. Together, we can end the cycle of incarceration and build pathways to healing, dignity, and long-term success. Let's give our community members the fresh start they deserve. Thank you so much, Dr. Holt. Thank you, Dr. Holt, for what you have done for the last 5 years. Thank you, Dr. Holt, for what you have done in my life. Thank you for the opportunities that have risen through Fresh Start in my life. I got my voting rights restored, and I was able to vote last year. And a lot of people know the story. I made videos and I cried like a little baby because I got my voice back and I was able to be part of the system again. And I was able to explain to people that little sticker that you put on after you vote that says, I voted today. The meaning of that, you don't even comprehend when you have it on, and you've had it on for your whole life, and year after year you get to put it on. And you don't understand until you're not able to. And until somebody says, why don't you have one? Why didn't you vote? And you know me, people, I'm not going to take this opportunity when we're talking about voting to not tell you that Arizona and Tucson in general, we have such a small percentage of our population that actually participates in the voting and election days and the mail-in ballots, whatever it may be. Get registered, man. I got my rights restored. I got registered. I went to the polls and I voted. I voted in the presidential election, and now I'm going to vote again. And you know, it's powerful, and it's moving to me because it's just another step toward what I didn't have before, and wasn't able to fully comprehend what it took to respect what I had before, and to take that and use it for something for the future, and not to tear things down and destroy things and get locked up for it. And that's not our lot in life. We are not destined to spend the rest of our life in prison with little visits to the community every 4 or 5 years. That's not what it is supposed to be. And Fresh Start gives you an opportunity to change that each and every time you walk out of there. We are at the orientation every Tuesday offering Fresh Start opportunities to any individual that is there, any individual that becomes eligible to get their rights restored, any individual that becomes eligible to seal their record, expunge, fines, fees, reduced, restructured, DMV, people getting their license back so that they can go to work and they don't have to look over their shoulder because they got warrants Man, so many warrants have been quashed, and that is such an extraordinary thing, because you're talking about not just a warrant being quashed for an individual so he doesn't have to look over his shoulder anymore. Chief Casimir doesn't have to send out officers to that residence numerous times looking for that individual. He doesn't have to have officers investigating, trying to find this individual so that they can bring him to justice. Because we quash that warrant, we keep the community safer. We keep the neighborhoods safer, because we don't have to go out into them with force, with police cars, with personnel in order to serve warrants, because we've quashed those warrants, and people have taken the responsibility that they needed to take in order to cover all their bases so that they could be there for their friends and family when they're needed. I talk about it all the time that I destroyed a lot of relationships by going to prison. But I'll tell you what, when you persist and you keep showing up, people come around. And when you keep doing the right things, people support you. And when you keep moving forward and helping other people, people want to come with you and do that too. And that's what I have noticed in my life since being released from prison. So now let me get to the expo. And the expo is going to be October 18th. It's going to be Saturday. It's going to be 9 to 1. All the flyers are live now at Fresh Start International, fresh-start.international. You could get a hold of us at Demand at fresh-start.international, Thomas at fresh-start.international. The Fresh Start radio show every Saturday morning on 106.3 The Groove at 7:30 a.m. and a YouTube subscription at 10:30 The Voice. And you will see us and you will get updated information constantly about reentry, about restorative justice, about transformative justice. And I had a friend ask me recently about us doing this expo and how does the expo represent restorative justice? And most people think that the restorative justice model is just geared toward taking an assailant and a victim and restoring the relationship. And though that is part of it, but there is another relationship that is broken when crime is committed and when people go to prison. And that's the relationship you have with your community. That's the relationship you have with your family and friends. Those relationships also need to be mended and restored. And restorative justice encompasses restoring all of those relationships. It's not always possible to put an assailant and a victim back in the same room. And there's seldom are there people that want to do that. Seldom there's so much guilt with the person who committed the crime and anger with those who had the crime committed against them that it's very difficult for that to happen. But we're hoping to move toward that model coming to fruition in Tucson, Arizona, in the state of Arizona, and in this country, in the United States. Because people need to be restored. And redemption comes in a great many ways. But I'll tell you, when you get out and you are looked at differently from the rest of society because they know where you came from, that again is pigeonholing you and making you think that your lot in life is back in the cage in the box. And it's not. Because Fresh Start came forward 5 years ago. And even more than that, it was about a decade ago that Damon did the first one at a church in a back room with a judge and some counselors. And wow. And then he worked for 5 years to get it all together. And we did the first one at the Tucson Convention Center. And now this is going to be the fifth one at the convention center. And I'm super excited about it. I'm super excited about the opportunities that are going to arise for people following this event. I'm excited about, the people that are going to meet each other at this event. Because it is the connections that move you forward. It is community that moves you forward. And our legal system separates us from the very beginning. They will separate the assailant from the victim. They will separate the assailant from the community. They will separate the assailant from even the population within the jail or the prison. So everything that the system does is isolate an individual and make them feel even more alone. And we are here to tell you, anybody within listening, and I know grandmas and grandpas are out there, moms and dads are out there, uncles and aunts are out there that have kids, that have relatives that have been locked up in the system for years or for a week. It doesn't matter. But that's who we're talking to. We're talking to you because we're going to be here for them when they get out, because we've been here for all the people over the last 5 years, and we're going to continue to be here for the people next 5 years, next 50 years, next 500 years, whatever is necessary to bring people back into stead with the community. And we have a difficulty because we look outside and we see a massive amount of homeless people. And I would venture to say that more than 50% of those homeless people are justice involved and have difficulty finding a job, have difficulty finding housing because they have felony convictions on their records. And when that happens, what is your alternative? You know, a halfway house only lasts so long, and a sober living community is only for so long. And if you can't get a job, then you can't pay for anything and you don't have a place to live. But we have accepted that we have a homeless population that is in dire need of rehabilitation, that is in dire need of love, that they need to be cared for because they're not able to care for themselves. And I don't know when we got to the point where it became okay, because I know you see it when you drive by a bus stop. And I see it all day long in the bus stops, in the alleys, in the parks, in the homeless areas. And most of them are justice involved. And most of them, all of them, need our help. So when we finally decide to start putting the right foot forward to embrace people as our Savior did, then we'll start getting the results that we need to get. Otherwise, we're going to keep having to have Fresh Start to help people get out of prison because they're going to keep going back to prison. But we're going to keep helping you, and every time you get out, we're going to try to get you even more help, because that's what Fresh Start does. That's what Dr. Holt has done from the beginning. And his hook has been the legal thing. Let's get the fines reduced. Let's get them the rights restored. Let's get it expunged. Let's get it sealed. Let's get them to move. Let's get them closer to before they had any of these convictions. And Dr. Holt has done that for a great many years, and he continues to do it. But that was the hook. Now we want to get you the help that you need so you can move forward. And me personally, I can tell you from experience, it's been almost 9 years now that I've been out. And every year I'm working. And I'm working on dealing with the triggers, and I'm working on dealing with the environments, and I'm working on not going back there because I take a moment and lose track. I don't. I keep pressed, nose to the grindstone, pull them up by the belt loops, put one foot in front of the other and do it the right way. And every time I see somebody that needs help, I try to get them the help that they need. And I don't know any other way to live now. And as part of my trauma resilience, it's helping people that have trauma. I never wanted to go back into the prison system, but I'll go back in any day of the week if it's going to help somebody take a step forward and not a step back. Fresh Start helps people move forward. And we have this opportunity to touch. There were 55,000 people in the system when I was there. There's 35,000 people in the system now. Over 90% of them are going to be released from prison. What are we going to do to welcome them back into our community? Let's offer them Fresh Start. And if you have an opportunity, please support us. Get onto the Facebook page, get onto the website, support us with all the opportunities that are there. Come to the events, come to the fundraiser brunch. Hear from people who Fresh Start has helped and has changed their life and moving them forward into a life that has given them a fresh start. God bless. Have a good Saturday.